Hello, welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a very pleasant, very hot Sunday Stuff and Things. And on this very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things, we have many stuff and things to talk about. I'm going to grab my notes with my feet and lift them up to my hands, including upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things Plays. We're going to get into the fact that, yes, the heat has finally caught up with the Pacific Northwest. It had been sweeping the nation, but we have been spared for the most part until the last week or so. We'll talk about whether or not I am a hipster doofus, and then we'll get into some of your feedback. We have some really good stuff in the feedback section in hashtag askstuffandthings. So, let's get into it. Okay, first of all, upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things Plays. The video that I'm posting this week is an interesting one, at least for me, and I think for some of you out there. You know that I've been trying to play guitar for a while. I've been practicing very dedicatedly. I've been very dedicated in practicing for over a year now, every single day. And lately I've been trying to play standing up because I figured that was a skill that I should cultivate, because I never really play my guitar standing up. I would like to play with other people sometimes just for fun. And I started trying to do it and realizing that it was really difficult, and way more difficult than it seemed it should be, because most people in bands play standing up. And so this video is just sort of talking through that, the whole process of what was going on, why I was finding it so difficult, and what I finally did to, in my opinion, and I think at least for me, solve the issue. So check out that video. I think it's a good one. We'll be posting this Wednesday. Then we're gonna have, coming up soon, a new blend, and this is one that was sent to me. Who did send this to me? I think it was from Sutliff. I'm not sure. It came to my P.O. box. But anyway, it's Seattle Pipe Club Hogshead Signature Series. Is that going to show up? I don't know. The font is weird. I'm not sure if it's showing up. But it's Seattle Pipe Club Hogshead, a blend I have never had, not really heard too much about. In colonial days, Virginia was the source for the finest teas, traditionally shipped in giant barrels called hogsheads. So this is, I'm assuming, a Virginia blend. Say it's a blend of very old Virginias cultivated in Africa, Brazil, and the United States, pressed into an easy-to-use plug. Sounds good. Sounds very interesting, and I'm very curious to try this blend. So we'll be doing a first impressions video on this soon. And then, of course, we have the Elden Ring series every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Stuff and Things Plays. Stay tuned for all the good stuff coming to both channels, please. All right, so you can see I'm wearing a tank top. I'm also wearing shorts. You can't see that, which is probably to your benefit. And that's something I almost never do. But frankly, you're lucky I'm wearing anything at all in this video, because it has gotten very hot in the Pacific Northwest. Now I know that the rest of the country, and I think a lot of Europe as well, has been experiencing a bit of a heat wave lately. We had mostly avoided it in the Pacific Northwest. It was quite nice. We were just getting our normal, like, mid-70s temperatures for the summer. Summer's in the Pacific Northwest. Everyone thinks it rains all the time. It does rain all the time. In the spring, or no, let me say this correctly, in the fall, the winter, and the spring. But the summer is usually beautiful. Very sunny days, doesn't rain very much at all, and it's usually like in the lower to mid 70s most of the time, with a couple stretches in the 80s as far as temperature. Last year we had that crazy heat wave where it got over 100 degrees in Bellingham, where I live, and that was in like late June, which is way early for that, but then it kind of went back to typical last year. This year we had a really mild and wet spring, milder and wetter than normal as far as temperature goes. And then the summer had kind of just developed into, 70s, just typical normal stuff for here. But finally last week, the heat arrived in the Pacific Northwest, and we are getting into the high 80s, low 90s. And of course, as I always have to point out, I know that's not super hot for some of you, but it is super hot for us, and also nobody has air conditioning for the most part. And especially in our apartment, I'm filming this in our apartment now because I had just done the guitar video. I don't know what it is about this particular place, but the heat builds and builds all day, and it will not dissipate no matter what you do. I try all the different methods of like blocking out all the windows, making sure no light is shining in during the day when it's hot, and then trying to open everything at night. It still will be 6 to 8 degrees hotter inside this apartment than it is outside. So currently it is 89 degrees in my office as I'm recording this video. I think outside it's probably in the mid 80s, something like that. But it's been really annoying trying to sleep at night when it's close to 90 degrees and you just can't cool down at all. Luckily, it seems like things are going to change within the next couple days. We're just going to be getting back to our normal like 75 and sunny, which is perfectly fine for me. But it's been interesting because I'm not the kind of person who sweats a lot, and I don't like the feeling of being sweaty. And lately, I think I finally started to understand, at least during this little heat snap, what it's like for people who are sweaty. And I know people like that who, you know, even if they're in fairly decent shape, if they just walk up a flight of stairs or do anything even remotely strenuous, even if it's not super hot, they'll just be pouring sweat. And they're just the kind of person that have the dark circles under their arms because they're sweating all the time. They've got the like belly sweat or the back sweat. I've never been one of those people, but now I find myself, you know, just feeling that gross stickiness. You take a shower and then you get out of the shower and you're still, as soon as you get out, you start sweating again. Like I hate that. I guess I remember that vaguely from when I lived in Los Angeles, and I never lived in a place that had air conditioning in Los Angeles either. But that was a little drier there, so I don't think I sweat as much as I do here because it's usually more humid. But anyway, it's gross, and I don't like it. So most of the time I've been sitting around in my underwear, trying to cool off the best I can. It's hard to do anything really like playing guitar when you're just sticking to the guitar. Your hands are sticking to the guitar neck. You can't really seem to do anything. I don't know. It's been annoying. I shouldn't complain because everyone gets annoyed whenever I complain about heat, but I'm looking forward to things cooling down soon. So recently, I did a Google search of this YouTube channel, Stuff and Things. I think I put Bradley Stuff and Things or Stuff and Things Bradley. And that's something I've never really done before. That might seem shocking to you, but I don't ever really look anything up about this channel to see if anybody's been saying anything, if there's been anything in Reddit or forums or what have you. And for some reason I decided to do it the other day. And it was a very amusing experience because I did find some discussion from some people on the internet. There was, I think, a thread on the Reddit pipe community that was nice. People were complimentary, saying they liked the videos. And then I found another one. I can't even remember the name of the forum, but I found it so funny. And it was a really pleasant experience, even though they were insulting me the whole time, because everyone was talking about how much of a hipster I was. And this was only from like a year ago or so, I think. And I'm just kind of, it's amusing to me to see how other people perceive you. And I guess a lot of the times, at least up until social media became pervasive, most of us didn't really have that opportunity. And so to be able to go and read like, God, this guy just bugs the hell out of me. And they talk about the things that I do that make them annoyed. And I can't argue, like if I'm annoying to you, I could certainly understand that. I would probably annoy myself. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I would annoy myself. So I don't hold it against anyone if I annoy them. It was just fun and funny to read the ways in which I annoy people. And the thing that kept coming up was that I talk too much. Yeah. And that I'm a hipster.
Said I was a hipster doofus. Am I a hipster
And
doofus?
even though maybe in my 20s I could lay claim to at least a little bit of hipsterishness, I don't know that I actually qualify now, and I guess it's just a matter of relativity. If you are someone who, how do I put this delicately? I guess if you're just the kind of person who is just very, very conventional in every way, then maybe someone like me would seem like a hipster. but I would love to take one of those people and plop them down into like a brewery here locally and just let them take a look at the people in their 20s who are sitting around them, and then ask them if I seem like a hipster in relation to those people. I also think there's something to be said that past a certain age, you don't really qualify to be considered part of any sort of subculture, and I don't think I qualify anymore. There was a time when I was like in my late teens where I liked mod stuff. There was a mod revival going on in Los Angeles, and I would hang out with the mod kids, and we would wear suits and wear parkas and all that stuff. So I've delved into that. I have flirted with subcultures and stuff in the past. I don't think you could really consider hipster a subculture anyway. It's maybe more of an attitude, and maybe that's what they're commenting on, that I just seem annoying or arrogant. But it was funny. And I was tempted to join the forum with a username that wasn't obvious that it was me, but if you thought about it, you could realize, oh, this is actually him, and then just start piling on and insulting myself as well, and see if I could like bump the thread and see if people would start going again, because that would amuse me quite a bit. But anyway, it was fun. It's fun to be able to see how other people perceive you from time to time. And it's nice to know that for the most part, the people who watch this channel enjoy the channel, and the people who have watched it and didn't like it just stop watching. And that's fine, and they can complain on a forum for a while. The weird thing to me is the people who hate watch. There are a few people who watch every single video, it seems like, but it really annoys them. And I always wonder, why are you watching something that irritates you so much? Very strange. All right, gang, but now it is time for feedback and hashtag askstuffandthings. It's really hot in here, so we need to get through this sooner rather than later. If you have a question for me and you would like it answered on the Sunday Stuff and Things, you can tweet at SAT Bradley with the hashtag askstuffandthings. You can also leave comments on my YouTube videos. You can ask questions through there. I always read every comment. I don't get to respond to every single one, but if I find some good feedback, some good questions, I will pull those out. And then if you are a Patreon supporter, you can, of course, message me on Patreon, and you will go to the front of the line as far as getting questions answered. But first, we have a question via YouTube. This is from Evan Pete. Hi, Bradley. Awesome video. I love pretty much everything you put out. Well, thank you, Evan. I wanted to ask, though, have you ever noticed any negative health side effects from essing your pee? I ask purely out of curiosity and also just in relation to my own pee-essing journey. Thanks. This is a question I have had several times in the past, and I have sort of, I've delicately approached it a few times in the past, and it's not something I feel super comfortable even delving into, because obviously I am not a medical professional. I am not a scientist. I don't feel like I'm qualified to give a real good answer about this. I can only speak from my own experience, and I will say that I don't notice anything. That doesn't mean that there's nothing going on, but I like to think of it the same way you could think about enjoying fine wine or spirits or something like that. If you indulge in it in moderation, you're probably fine. There may be some negative effects, but you're probably okay if you sort of balance that out with other, healthy habits in your life. But if you're drinking a fifth of whiskey every day, that's probably not going to be good for you. And I kind of feel the same way about pee-essing. Everything in moderation. If you feel as though it's having a negative effect on you, then you should probably stop, or you should moderate. There are a lot of things that we can do that in moderation, on balance, can be fine. They may not be strictly healthy, but they may not be the most deleterious thing that you could do to yourself. Just think about it. Moderation. Make your own choices. Next, from CS. This is via YouTube. I'm newer to pipe essing, and I bought a can of plum pudding. I have to say that I do not like the smell of it. I get barbecue ribs. Yeah. Now, I like to eat ribs, but it's not appetizing for me to ess it in a pipe. Until my palate changes, perhaps. I'm assuming that smell is attributed to the Latakia, right? So before I try another English blend with Latakia, I'd like to know whether that smell and flavor is the same with almost any Latakia blend, or if plum pudding is different than most. Thanks. It's really hard to know what exactly is triggering this connotation that you're having between the smell of this blend and barbecue ribs. I do think that plum pudding has kind of a meaty aroma to it. I don't think it would only be the Latakia. And this is a good example. We just posted a video where I was trying pure Latakia. And maybe you could get your hand on maybe just half an ounce or an ounce of pure Latakia. Smell that. Is that what you're smelling in plum pudding? I think that there's more going on here than just the Latakia, because Latakia to me never really smells meaty. It's smoky, it's campfire. I don't really get barbecue from it, but maybe you do, because I don't know how you perceive things. We all perceive things differently. So get some blending Latakia and just try it out. Smell it, maybe even a little bit of it in your pee and see what you think. Next, this is feedback from last week's Sunday Stuff and Things. This is from Hallie's Ledger and Lace. When I first saw your thumbnail, I immediately thought of the new Persuasion that everyone is flogging. Is there a new version of Persuasion? A Stuff and Things movie review as a regular feature would be very entertaining. You can add that idea to the list of Stuff and Things in your new journal. Thank you for the suggestion. I've been thinking maybe about doing that. We did the sort of pseudo movie review in last week's Sunday Stuff and Things about Matilda, the weirdest movie I've seen, about a giant, well not giant, normal-sized boxing kangaroo made in 1978. We may do that occasionally. I was thinking of actually album reviews. That might be fun every once in a while if there's something that strikes me as being particularly interesting to tell you about. So we'll see. Next, from Cheesy Bacon. Have you ever watched the 1972 John Waters film, Pink Flamingos? That just might be the worst movie of all time, in my opinion. It would seem that many people at the time agreed because the trailer contained zero footage from the actual movie, only the shocked reactions of people leaving a theater who had just watched it. If you chose to watch it, be warned, it isn't for people with a weak stomach. I have seen it, and I don't consider that the worst movie of all time because it is meant to be shocking. It is meant to elicit a reaction from people, and we all have different ways of deciding these things, but for me, in my mind, a truly bad movie has to be incompetent in, how to put this, because like I said when I reviewed Matilda, there are films that are just horribly made and the people had no idea what they were doing. Then there are films like Matilda where it was made by competent professionals, but it's just so inept and strange that's what made me think it was one of the worst movies I'd ever seen. Something like Pink Flamingos, made by someone who is trying to provoke and elicit a response. I don't know, it's different, but it's all a matter of your own perception. Thank you, Cheesy Bacon. Next, from Scott Free. I saw Matilda in the theater when I was a kid, which really dates me, I know. I thought it was creepy also. Cheers. So that's fun to hear someone who actually saw Matilda back in 1978. I'm curious how old you were when you saw that, because if I imagine seeing that movie when I was like 5 or 6, I might have actually liked it. But yeah, younger than that, it probably would have creeped me out. Next, this is from RB. East Tennessee, I've had 4 separate connectivity problems going on at the same time. My wife's Verizon phone, my Straight Talk phone, my CenturyLink home internet service, and my emergency backup, a Verizon hotspot. Paying for 4 separate services and none of them working. Trying to get a human on the phone. I will say, CenturyLink has been the only one after a week to restore service. I think that with all these types of services, whenever your service is unavailable, your billing should stop and not restart until your service is restored. In some parts, these companies are answerable to no one. Yeah, so I was talking about my wonderful experience trying to get some customer service from Xfinity. And I've thought about that as well. If you have an internet connection that is so variable or so in and out that you're only getting connection 50% of the time, why do you have to pay 100% of your bill? That seems like that should be illegal. There should be a law stating that service must be continuous or else you don't have to pay. If you live in an apartment and your stove doesn't work and they don't fix it for 2 weeks, you get your rent prorated, or you're supposed to. So it should be the same with internet connectivity. Obviously, these are first world problems. It's not a huge deal in the grand scheme of things, but it does cost money. Next, we have some feedback on the Pure Latakia pipe varietal video that I posted last Wednesday. You should check that out if you haven't yet. This is from Paragon Piper. It's too bad that Syrian Latakia is extinct. I found it slightly sweet and complex for a component. I made some home blends with 90% Syrian Latakia, wow, 5% Red Virginia, 5% Oriental, and it was wonderful. Cyprian, not so much. It's in your face rather than subtle. Yeah, and I think because of the character of both of these components, you're not going to want to put 90% Syrian in a blend, probably, unless you really love that bold flavor. Or not Syrian, Cyprian. But with Syrian, because it is more mild, more mellow, you can get away with more of a higher content in a blend, perhaps. But, you know, I essed that bowl of Cyprian Latakia, and it was fine. I could have used some other blends to sort of smooth it out a little bit, or some other components, but I didn't mind it. Next, from GTR Music, from GTR Music 69. Don't understand the weird need you have to change your voice when you read stuff. I don't know what you mean. All right, gang, that was the feedback. Please keep that feedback coming in. I appreciate it coming in. It really helps me out. It's really good to be able to connect with you and get feedback from you about the videos that you're seeing on the channel, and you're really adding to the discussion as well. So please, keep it up. But now, gang, it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we thank our Patreon supporters. I'm getting really hot here, gang. I'm really sweaty. So I appreciate so much the fact that people support these channels on Patreon. It helps pay for the fancy camera that is filming this video right now. It helps pay for blends for review and other things. I'm hoping to get some more equipment to make the videos even better. So I have some goals on Patreon. Most of them are completely ridiculous and sky high, but there's one. I would like to get a video tripod with a fluid head and a macro lens. So we have a goal there on Patreon. Go check it out if you want. There's a link in the description. You can also hit that super thanks button if you would like to support the channel directly. But every week we like to give a special shout out to the people who support the channels at $25 or more a month. People like Kirk Crompton, Private Eye, Glenn, Jason Buckner, Gloria Phillips, MDoftheNorth, David Gaudreau, Mr. Luxurious, Nick Papageorgio, John Tice, and Ryan McFadin. And of course, the crazy people, the maniacs who support the channels at $100 a month. People like our good friend and award-winning author, Peter Straub, stolid and dependable Bob Magee, and rising from the ashes, Ashes of the Phoenix. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all so much for watching, for subscribing, for sharing, for liking. It all helps that crazy algorithm out there. It makes it so other people might see these videos and click on them. And we like people to watch because that's kind of the point. But gang, please stay tuned for the how to stand up while playing guitar video. I think it's interesting. I think you'll enjoy it. We will have a video coming up rather soon about Hogshead from Seattle Pipe Club. And then, of course, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Stuff and Things plays. The Elden Ring series continues. Kevin the Kurt. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. I'll see you later.